Step 1, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, happy Christmas Eve to my beautiful coffee beans! And it's such terrible news why we are here today. this beautiful morning. Beautiful morning. We've got a lot to go over. Phil reminding us, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button on your way in or on your way out. You may say, Betty, I don't feel like dealing with you today. Yeah, we'll see you later. All right, well, bye-bye, cupcake. Or should I say snowflake? I need to quit being so damn mean. It's Christmas, Betty. It's Christmas. Quit being mean. Quit being mean. Okay, I'll try. It is nice to see everyone. I'm going to start over in the vertical chat. If you guys are in the vertical chat, thanks for being here. We got about 29 people in the vertical chat. Good morning, Libby. It's nice to see you. Blessed Happy Nana. Good morning. Good morning, Kelly. It's nice to see you. Cheyenne. Trust the process. It's nice to see you, Debbie. Good morning. Kelly, oh, Betty, I haven't seen you in a while. You look good. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you. Thank you, love. Thank you. And then for our horizontal chat, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. You guys are up awfully early this Christmas Eve, but you know what? Many people still have to get up and go to work because our bosses are such a-holes. They won't let us off on Christmas Eve. They make us work up until the end of the day, and then we can have Christmas off. I don't like my boss. My boss is making me work on Christmas, not even with overtime. I'm just saying. I got the stinkiest boss in the business. The stinkiest boss in the business. She cracks the whip too. I don't like my boss. I really don't. I don't like her at all. She's just a biatch, okay? Just saying. What's wrong with her? Don't tell her I said anything, okay? I wouldn't want her to know. Wouldn't want her to know how I feel about her. Melanie, it's nice to see you. Denise, good morning. Mom of 9.5, your blues. It's nice to see you. Let them 66. Good morning, my love. I hope you are doing well. Crystal Pistol, it's nice to see you. YouTuber up in the house. Whispering Winds, it's nice to see you. Good morning, Sandy from across the pond. It is nice to see you. Mama is up in the house winning bigly. Good morning. It's nice to see you, love. Who else do we have? Honey Dip. Merry Christmas Eve to you too, honey. Jules, Angel, it's nice to see you. Phil, Frank it up. Good morning, guys. It's nice to see you. Good morning, good morning. Barb, it's nice to see you. Merry Christmas to you as well. It's nice to say Merry Christmas again. It's nice. Without having people give you the stink eye. Like, what? You can't say Merry Christmas in America? The hell? You want to talk about tyranny? Let me count the way. Musta got lost. Nice to see you. Oh, thank you, Mama. I appreciate that. So, obviously, we had some detrimental news. You guys know my position on the Melodee Buzzard case. I was very, very, very clear on my position on the Melodee Buzzard case. I thought this was a glorified child custody case that went to a federal investigation, should never have been in a federal investigation because of the laws in California. They just don't have, they're just not suited for this. We read the rules, we read the laws, and we understand why she was never thrown in jail, and we understand why they were never really able to get a court order. Hindsight 2020, right? It's because their laws are horrible in the state of California, where a child could go missing and they can't even arrest a mom. I'm just saying, and I think we said that before. But my biggest part was they were violating her rights, and I always feel that no matter how we do law, we need to do it above board, okay? What means our law enforcement needs to be coloring within the lines, and they were not doing things the right way. And I think that really prevented them from moving the case forward. So in part, I do believe that law enforcement was at fault in part of this, right? Secondly, I truly did believe that she hid Melodee. I believe that because of her history, because she had done this before, that this child would be okay. Out of all the kids that we cover, this was going to be the one that, everybody was making a big deal about. I was wrong. I was detrimentally wrong. But, again, it's my opinion. It's what I say on this channel. It's not like we were out there. It's not like we were doing anything. It's not like we were, being detrimental to an investigation. We covered the case. We put our name up here. We told you guys everything that the law enforcement wanted us to say, and I told you guys my opinion. My opinion was wrong, and that's all there is to it. It was wrong. This girl was deceased, and very brutally too. And what a cold-hearted bitch her mother turned out to be. Like, I don't understand how you can do what she did. Like, her daughter looks like she loved her, looked like she trusted her. You know, she even, you know, appeared to be doting upon her. And for her to do this is just, I don't understand. I don't think I'll ever understand. But it does go to show why we look at the parents, and why typically when we look at the parents, it truly is the parents. You guys are going to have to give me a second. I got to go get a jacket. I'm a little cold. Gets a little cold in the house. I mean, I'll take it off in just a little bit. I just turned the air conditioning down a little bit because it's just getting too cold, or up, or whatever the heck it is. I'm warming the house up, okay? But until the air conditioning, I got it set. So the air conditioning, when it shuts off, it still pushes the air through the system for 90 seconds to get all the cold air out of my lines. So even though I turned it up, it doesn't automatically stop. It's going to be about a minute and a half before it finally shuts off. And then I can take the jacket off. It was just it's a little burr, because at night I get a little warm because I'm under covers and what have you. Guys, don't forget tonight, 6:30, I've got the thumbnail. I haven't set it up. Maybe I'll set it up before we close out today. Tonight, 6:30, pajama party, Christmas Eve pajama party. I don't know what we're going to do. I think I'm going to turn off all of the monetization, and we're just going to have a Christmas party with Christmas music, and we're just going to enjoy ourselves, you know? And maybe we'll talk about true crime. Maybe we'll talk about politics. Maybe we won't talk about any of it. Maybe we'll just talk about Betty. Maybe I'll just be arrogant. Maybe I'll be all about me. Maybe I'll be just conceited Christmas Eve biatch. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I need to watch my language. It is Christmas Eve. It is Christmas Eve. So if you guys would like to be here, sorry to my moms on this day. Chat. Hey. I know, they're busting their ass. Good morning, Army vet. It's nice to see you. Oh, yeah, my daughter said that yesterday to someone that she told her to go to hell. Yesterday, she ran over with me. The wonderful wagon with 4 kids on it. Don't mess with my babies. Yep. All right, guys. So, as you guys know, we learned of something very devastating. Melodee Buzzard is not okay. Melodee Buzzard is dead. And Melodee Buzzard was shot. That's what the information we learned last night from the press conference from law enforcement. I did pull the press conference up. I'm not sure why. Hey, Vicky, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Merry Christmas. I'm not sure why I didn't bring the press conference off. I think we need to watch it, so we will watch it. Let me get through the intro, and then maybe we'll just give me a second and I'll find. I mean, I watched it yesterday, so I know it's in my history on YouTube, so it shouldn't be a big deal. We should be able to find it very easily, but well, I'll be damned. I didn't realize they had this stuff on here. Okay, so anyways, today we're going to be going over, obviously, Melodee Buzzard and her death. She was 9 years old, and her body was found in Utah, in a rural area of Utah. And her mother, Ashlee Buzzard, is now charged with her homicide. They say she acted alone, so the purple wig person may not exist. And we're going to go over that as well. So stick around. We've got a lot to go over and to unpack with this case now that we know the truth, right? It's always about the truth. It's so easy. And even me, you know, I'm looking, because I look at a lot of different things when I make an assessment. I just don't look at one thing. And one of the things that put me off was her history, you know, and this was before we even found out that her mother ran off with her at 9 years old as well. But she had fled the state of California from the Meza family once before, a few years ago, and she was gone for, I want to say, almost a year in Iowa. So when we saw her traveling toward Nebraska and Kansas, and right over Nebraska is the Iowa state line, naturally we thought, or I thought, I should say, I should keep we out of it. Naturally, I thought that this is a history. She's done this before. The child's been fine. If you have a history of things, then you have a history, right? And so I rely a lot on that history of folks. Hey, Tony, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I need to get with you because I texty and well, I'll talk to you about that later. I'll have to call you later. Merry Christmas, by the way. I hope you guys are doing well. It's nice to see you. But history does repeat itself. So a lot of the stuff, you know, I rely on, I do history. Why do I look at Chris so awkwardly? Because of his history. Why do I look at Don Wells awkwardly? Because of his history. Why do we look at these people? Because of their history. Now, we're looking at a mother that had no criminal history. We had several people that were claiming that she had some mental illness, but they could only point to one specific event. And we all know that when you're mentally ill, you have more than one specific event that people can point to. So there was a lot of outliers in this case that didn't bode with, you know, statistics. And I think that's what led me to believe the things that I believed. And not only that, everybody was talking about her batshit crazy. And of course, she recorded Tyler Brewer. She brought that recording to court. She sounded very, very cognizant, right? I mean, let me ask my audience as a whole. I'm going to look at both of you, the vertical. Hey, Faye, it's nice to see you. You're in the vertical stream, just to let you know. I appreciate it. If you guys are in the vertical stream, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button as well. We got 61 people in the vertical stream, 80 people in the horizontal stream. So please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button in your perspective streams. It's good morning. But I think what my issue is with this case, especially at the beginning, was the violation of the civil rights and the rights, her rights. I truly believe even with despicable parents, bad parents, and everything like that, you can paint with inside the lines and still be effective. Okay. And that's where I was very, very angry with this, because we already have a problem with law enforcement getting horrible names around this country. And then you've got law enforcement publicly coloring outside of the lines, and normal people, normal Joes probably don't even know that they are doing that. But people like me, people like Vinnie Politan, people like, Ashlee Banfield know that they are coloring outside of the line. They know that they are, not, and they're not saying anything about it. And I don't like that, because I'm an activist and an advocate. That means everybody's got to play by the rules, right? Nobody gets an advantage, not even law enforcement. It keeps the playing field fair for everybody, and it makes sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, folks. That's all it does. It dots the I's and crosses the T's. That's it. So we had the issue where they were coloring outside of the lines, and I demanded a court order. Everything started dying down when we were starting to demand a court order, which kind of made me feel, again, that we were on the right track. They didn't have the rights to do it, which I still believe they don't. And we have to look at that, because in the grand scheme of things, California law is really screwed up. How can you have a situation like this, have no Amber Alert, and not even be able to arrest the mother or get a freaking court order from a judge? Like, how in the world did we get here with California? You know? It's just... it's just hard to process. So Melodee was last seen live during the travels with her mother. So originally yesterday, when this stuff was fluid and we were just learning information was flying. And one of the ABC articles told us that she was, gone weeks before she was ultimately, reported missing, which puts this thing all the way back to, the end of September, which we saw this child. I even went back to read the blog from the sheriff's office to confirm that, wait a minute, this was a photo from October 7th. So we knew immediately that little tidbit of detail, hey, sweetie pie, it's nice to see you. That tidbit of detail was inaccurate. So we did determine and found out by the press conference that Melodee died on October 9th, okay? Her mother, listen to this. Her mother, now raising a child. I bet you anything her mom found a nice little place and said, hey, go check this out. Go check this out. And then, boom, done. Like, how do you do that to your child? How do you do that to your child? How? How? I would have never. There's no way in hell you would have made me believe that this woman that had no criminal history would be capable of something like that. This was without hesitation planned. Now, I knew that this was planned. My theory behind it was way off base. Clearly, we have a deceased child, right? So my stuff is way off base. But at the end of the day, we absolutely thought that this child was alive. I did. I personally, with my whole heart, the whole thing, folks, believed that this child was alive. Believe with everything that is wholly in me. Hey, Dan, it's nice to see you. That I thought that this was going to be the one child that they got wrong that we were going to bring home. I truly did. Wholeheartedly, hands down, all BS set aside, believed that this was going to be it. So we're going to go over, Melodee's last seen alive during the travel, school notice, prolonged absence, no immediate missing person child report filed, law enforcement unable to compel cooperation, remains later located in Utah, and arrest was followed by forensic confirmation. California law requires specific statutory threshold for court order intervention, okay? And in this case, there was no immediate crime scene. Parents claimed lawful custody, and no statutes allowed for emergency removal. I mean, this is California law. Can you believe that, like, everything that she did was all above, she could do it legally in California. If she did half this crap in Florida, she would have been in jail. I just want to put that I need to make those comparisons because, that's why I stopped whenever we were analyzing this case, because we're not dealing with a normal state. We're dealing with California. And I told you guys that over and over and over again, that we're dealing with California. They don't do law enforcement like we do. Hey, Faye. Oh, Faye came over. It's nice to see you. Groovy gal. Good morning. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas. It's nice to see you. Mama Bear. I looked up area maps, and it's a beautiful, breathtaking area view. Why visitors who found her were out photographing the view. Wow. Yeah, I guarantee that's what she did. Honey, go over there and look. And then that was it. What a monster. How do you do that to your child? I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand. And not only that, how do they do that? How do they live with themselves after they do it? Like, how does Katie Proudfoot just get up every day and put her clothes on and go to work? How do they do that? How do they just go on as if, this didn't happen? Hindsight is a biatch. It really is, because it really puts things into clarity, things that you couldn't see before, and you kind of wish you could see things a little clearer before. And we're just let me ask you guys this. Could you guys believe, I mean, and some of you, be honest, because I know, like, even Karen was fighting with me the whole time. She believed something was going on with Melodee. I didn't. I was stubborn, bullheaded, whatever you want to say, would not even contemplate this child being deceased. I wouldn't even contemplate it. Vicky, it's nice to see you, but let me do a 1 to 2. It was 100% premeditated too. It sure the hell is. What? Which I knew it was premeditated. I knew she had planned this, but the ending result was different. Like, I thought she truly was planning to take her kid. Like, she knew that this was going to be the last time that the state was coming for her daughter, and this was it. You know, this was going to be it. Like, she knew that her daughter was going to be out of her custody. And that very well may be what it is. You know, we have to go back, you know, to the mentality of, if I can't have you, nobody can. Right? And my question is, why didn't she just do herself in too? See, I don't understand those things. You know, I just don't understand that, you know, if I'm going to do this, I would done that. Yeah, I saw a scene. I think we all saw the, I think we all saw the red flags. It's just, again, her history dictated that she's done this before. The child was fine, right? And that's really what I was holding. I held on too much. I put too much weight into that aspect. And I didn't, you know, it's all about understanding what you did wrong so you don't do it again, right? So that's what it is. I'm not going to lie about misanalyzing a case, you know, because who does that hurt? Does that hurt? It doesn't do anything but hurt this channel in the future, you know? We have to talk about it. We have to be, you know, forthcoming. We have to have everything above board. Like, there was people in here yelling about, you know, the information being, because at the time that I recorded the very first video, I dropped the premiere. You know, that was hours before, and we had no information. Do we have Seth in here too? Good morning, guys. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Oh, there he is. Hello. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. So, at the end of the day, I should say, I got the information wrong for a variety of reasons. But, again, at the end of the day, what was our main objective? The court order. The court order was the main objective through everything we were doing, is to get the proper court order so they could do their job properly, because I kept seeing them overstep and coloring outside of the lines. They couldn't get the court order. They still to this day never got the court order, folks. They still to this day never got the court order. So, welcome to the Coffee Club. We're covering one of the most disturbing child homicide cases of this year, and it's closing out this year. And we're finding out this information right before Christmas, which is, you know, heartbreaking. I mean, we're here Christmas Eve, and we're finding out that this poor baby was pulled out of a rural area at the beginning of this month. It's just sad. We just left. Yeah, figured it out. It's okay. Bringing up good points, and you owned up to it. Yeah, well, I own up to just about everything. Occasionally, I'm a human being. I didn't do it. It wasn't my hand in the cookie jar. Just saying, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I know what I did. Yeah, I know what I did. So it doesn't, I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter outside of educational purposes. You know, we need to figure out what it was and work through it. But I really did, maybe a piece of me really did just want this child to stay alive. Could we deal with so many, you know, dead, you know, kids that lose their life for a variety of reasons that are just totally immoral and at the hands of their parents, you know? And maybe for once, I just wanted this to, you know, I don't know. Who knows, you know? It just sucks. It sucks that this child truly is dead. It sucks that this child was dead before her mother even made it back to, back home. It just, it stinks that we're dealing with another homicide case in the true crime genre, and it coming back to a parent. I mean, we were just coming off of Rebecca Park, and she's an adult child, and her biological mother did terrible things to her as well. It is very, very, very problematic. what we're, in the dynamic that we're living in. And then, moreover, it's not just going one way. It's not the parents and the children. I mean, look at Rob Reiner and Nick Reiner. I mean, it goes the opposite way too. Like we're having family breakdown. We're having a family crisis in this country. And I don't know where it's coming from, what is fueling it, and how to stop it. But we have, and this is, guys, I'm sorry, but this is more than we've ever dealt with. I mean, yeah, we've had child deaths in the past, and yeah, we've had, parents, by their kids and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's starting to be so common. Like, I mean, can you imagine having to live in your own house, in the comfort of your own house with your children or your parents, and sleeping with one eye open? Like, I don't understand where we are going through, and what are we doing as a country, and why are we in this state of where we think humans, like, once upon a time, it didn't matter what side of the aisle you were on. It didn't matter who you were as a person, how you believed, whether you were religious, what your ethnicity is, all these things. It never mattered before. If somebody was hurting or injured, we all came together and helped. There was never, you always saw the great in humanity in crisis. And it's like, this day and age, we see crisis and we see deplorable humanity in crisis this day and age. What in the world happened? When did we look at one another and think that our lives didn't matter over how we think or feel? That's pretty dangerous. It's a slippery slope. And so I'm it's concerning. It's concerning. But at the end of the day, what we have going on in California is ultra concerning. They've decriminalized everything. You guys are watching the results of the decriminalization of everything. So let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm going to go ahead and get through my intro, and then we'll just get started here. So obviously, we're going through this 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard is deceased. Her body was found in Utah. Her mother, Ashlee Buzzard, has now been charged with her homicide. But this case is not just about what one mother did to her child. It's about what the system failed to do when warning signs were screaming. I'm going to walk you through the case from the beginning, slowly, carefully, and honestly. And I'm going to explain why law enforcement said their hands were tied, why I pushed back on that narrative, and why law itself failed this child. Melodee Buzzard was 9 years old. She should have been in school. She should have been safe, and she should be alive. She lived with her mother, Ashlee Buzzard, in California. There were no Amber Alerts. There were no custody disputes making headlines. There was no dramatic public plea from a parent saying, "Help me find my child." There were pleas from a distant family, okay? The father of this child lost his life when she was 6 months old. The only person screaming, the only people screaming for this child were the in-laws, the ones that tried to steal this child from their mother once before. Obviously, I do believe that has a hand. I will always believe that behavior, if she is mentally messed up or anything, that had an absolute direct result in why we are here. Because that PTSD from them taking that child from her before and removing a child from her previously, she was, in my opinion, now that we're seeing where the cards lay, it's one of those, if I can't have her, nobody will. She knew her child was going to be taken from her, and she could not live with it. That's kind of where I see this thing kind of landing now. But anyways, we're going to go through it. We're going to explain a lot of different information. She lived with her mother in California. Like I said, there was no major plea other than the distant family that hadn't seen her in years since she was, just a little above a toddler. And alone should make you uncomfortable because the child disappeared and the parent is calm, silent, and evasive. That's not normal, but it's not criminal either. On October 7th, Ashlee rented a vehicle in California. Surveillance footage later revealed that something disturbing Both she and Melodee were wearing wigs. That's not a coincidence. That's concealment. We acknowledged it was concealment. Again, our acknowledgement of that concealment was that she was going to be hiding her daughter because she didn't want them to have custody of her. They traveled through multiple states. Melodee was last seen on October 9th near the Utah border. Ashlee returned to California alone the next day. And again, let me say it again, she was alone the next day. We heard, now, where did, let me mark this so I don't lose my place. Where did the purple hair lady come in? Okay, because we heard from law enforcement that Ashlee acted alone. Everything that we're seeing now, looking back, now that we know that Melodee is gone. Thank you. Hey, Jude. Merry Christmas to you too, love. Merry Christmas to you too. Good morning. Pebbles, good morning. We heard, and what also solidified my belief that her daughter was alive and going to be healthy was the purple hair lady. Okay, the purple wig haired lady is what gave me the most hope in this story and the confirmation that I needed. And when I went back and looked, where did we learn about the purple hair lady? Unfortunately, we learned this person from the private investigator. It was never confirmed by a second source. It was never confirmed by law enforcement as being true or being in her route. And there's no confirmation that there was any other person with Ashlee. So it does truly sound like Ashlee made it up in her mind that this was what she was going to do. She made the plan to get a car. It sounds like she was going to go to maybe someplace that they knew in Iowa, because it seemed like that they were, going toward that direction, and she turned in Nebraska. Why? We don't know. And she did this little loop-de-loop in Kansas. And I think that loop-de-loop was trying to find a beautiful place. Because, again, I think she was trying to convince her daughter they were going on a road trip to have some fun and everything like that. And then, how calculated and cold somebody has to be, because it sounds like it's the back side of her body, not the front side. So she let her walk and pointed, aimed, and I can't. Let's just keep moving. Let's keep moving. So she returned without the child, but again, with the purple-haired lady, I thought she made it to her destination and dropped her child off with the support of her mother, Lori, saying that they know a lot of people from her past life with the child's father, that they know a lot of people in Utah. Oh, thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope you have thank you. You too, love. You too. So there was a lot of things that helped support some of the information, and then the dying down of the case, like law enforcement no longer putting any information up. The last post we had was of November 7th when she was arrested on the bunk charges, which those were bunk charges against a civil rights violation. And I have a problem with that. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue. We have rules for a reason, okay? Law enforcement is not allowed to break the rules just because they believe somebody did something. What if this woman had nothing to do with the child? It was exactly as I said. They threw this lady in jail that never had a criminal record in her life, for no reason other than to throw her in jail on a bunk charge because they thought something. I don't work like that, folks. I'm sorry. And none of us should be okay with that kind of policing. That's not right. It goes against our rules. Okay, they have rules to follow too, right? They have rules to follow too. And sometimes they do break the rules in an effort to, say, find a child. They will throw evidence out and willingly throw evidence out to try to get a child back alive. I get that. But again, none of their information was making sense. They had to have known that. Like, they originally started out that this child was missing a year and immediately corrected that within a 24 or 48 hours that no, this child was seen within a week of her, of the report. And it's like, what? Like, how did we go from a year to a week from the report? But I digress. I'm not going to keep rehashing the same reasons why I made the detrimental assessment that I did. It just is a combination of key factors in this case that I thought everybody was missing. Now, the failure of the system, this is where I diverge from mainstream media. Law enforcement stated they could not force cooperation. They said that they needed a court order. They said that there was no statute allowing them for immediate intervention. And we saw that, and we looked at the laws ourselves, and there were laws there. They were, telling her, you need to tell us where the child was, but they weren't following through with the court order or throwing her in jail, which they should have done. They should have done a long time ago. You guys know how I feel. If they truly believe, whether I believe it or not, if law enforcement truly believes that this child is in harm's way and that the mother has information, them failing to throw that woman, that makes me more angry than anything. Because no matter what, you know how I feel about somebody doing terrible things and being able to sleep in their bed. And she's been able to sleep in her bed for months. For months. That's not okay for me. And law enforcement knew something wasn't right, and they couldn't even get the damn court order in their own state. They couldn't even get a court order in California. They couldn't get a court order, folks. Do you think our children are safe in California? And there's the immediate problem. Children are not property, and absent of statutes do not equate absence of danger. In California, missing child laws are fragmented. If parents claim lawful custody, there is no visible crime scene. Law enforcement often defaults to inaction. It's not protection, that is paralysis. On December 6th, human remains were found in a remote area of Utah. DNA testing confirmed what many of us already feared. Many of you, because I didn't believe she was dead. It was Melodee. Ballistic evidence, which tells us there's the only way you can have ballistic testing is if there's a bullet or bullet fragments. So ballistic evidence tied shell casings found in Ashlee Buzzard's home and vehicle to the manner of death. This was not an accident. This was not negligence. This was cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder. Ashlee was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, no bond, no public explanation that could undo what is done, and suddenly the system found its authority. Took the body. I just want to let you know, it took the body in California. This is the part lawmakers need to hear. If law enforcement cannot intervene when a child disappears with a parent, then the law is broken. No court order was ever had. It shouldn't have been required to save the child's life. But at the end of the day, they couldn't even get a blessed court order. No bureaucratic delays should override a child's right to safety. And I feel like that's where we are at with this. Melodee Buzzard should be alive today. And if this case does not change the law, then her death will not be the last. We need a Melodee Buzzard law in California to make sure that this doesn't happen to another child. Thank you for allowing me to bend your ear on this case. Obviously, it being Christmas Eve, this is not the information that any of us want to be. What would the law be? I think it would force them to have the truancy, to make sure that truancy laws are not decriminalized, because in fairness, that was the only avenue that they had, in my opinion. Hey, Texas Woman, thank you. Texas Woman gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Steph received the Bullhorn Betty membership. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the insane asylum. And it's because I'm a love machine. It's nice to see you. I don't know. That's a good question, Sam. But I think the catalyst of this whole situation was the truancy. I think that they would have had more I think they would have had more meat to the bone with the truancy. I think the truancy, the way it was before 2019, gave law enforcement the authority to intervene without court orders and stuff like that. You know, that's what they need to get back to. If I had to put my finger on it, because by the time the report was had, by the time they took the report on October 14th, let's be honest, this child was already gone. Okay. We know that she lost her life on October 9th. So if she lost her life on October 9th and the case was opened on October 14th, the date that they opened the case, this child was deceased. So would this new law, would a law have prevented that? There's nothing that would have prevented this death. Okay. In my mind, there's nothing that would have prevented this death other than the fact that if they truly believed that this woman did have mental illness, they should have been more involved periodically, year after year after year. They should have never been able to close the case. I do believe that when you do have mental illness, that should not be a reason why. Again, I'm not buying the whole mental illness thing. Okay. Now, what could cause a mom to go out and unalive her child? I don't know, people would have to say that has to be mental illness. But I've listened to this woman. We watched her, and I've said here on my platform how smart she was, how she was able to dodge the cameras. Now, if she's going to lean on the mental illness for, a defense, that's one thing. But I do not believe that this woman is batshit crazy. I think this woman is smarter than people give her credit for. I think she's got some problems wrong with her, obviously. But I don't think that she should be automatically assumed as mentally ill for the facts of these cases, because let's face it, she committed a premeditated crime, okay? And she concealed. People that are mentally ill and don't feel that they've done anything wrong, they don't conceal it, okay? She concealed what she did. She intentionally and willfully concealed. That's going to be an element that they're going to have to take into consideration. She is a true cold-blooded killer. Exactly. So she would have been charged heavily had she not recorded herself. She was sharp. Exactly. She knew what she was doing. I'm not willing to give her a free pass and say this is a batshit crazy woman. If she was able to do all of this, this shows me that her mental acuity is at least there in part. She's able to think consciously. She was able to make a plan, execute a plan, cover up the crime. That, to me, is not insanity. That's a smart woman. But let's go ahead and listen to this segment here.
Mother behind bars accused of killing her own daughter.
That this level of criminal activity is particularly shocking given the ruthlessness that went into actually committing the crime.
That's the perfect word. Ruthlessness. This mother was ruthless. Like, I'm telling you guys. Oh, let me get back to the poll I was going to keep. I keep getting sidetracked. With a show of ones and twos, who would have ever thought? I mean, we know that some of you, I'm not going to ask you whether you thought she was deceased or not. I know a lot of people did not bode with my assessment. I know that. Even my own mods did not. And, everybody's like, okay, Betty, you didn't wake you up. Okay, well, I digress. Either way, I know that that a lot of you guys believed she was, but how many would actually believe a pew-pew? If you believe that that was the first thought that came to your mind, put a 1. If you like the pew-pew was shocking to you, if that was shocking to you, put a 2. She fooled you. Okay, she fooled me, I can tell you that. But I looked a little deep. Maybe I went a little too deep on this. So some people, what did I say 2 was? That you believe this was no shock? Not enough information. 0. Okay. 2. So this was your first, you guys thought, is that what I said? If you guys thought she was, what's 2? I forgot what 2 was. Let me go back. Can I go back? I want to hear what 2 was. Hold on a second. Let me listen to it. Shocking. Pew pew. Okay, so shocking pew pew too. Okay, so you guys are shocked. Okay, thank you. So you guys, so it wasn't the first thing that came to your mind. You guys were shocked because you typically when we have these cases, we're used to beatings, asphyxiation, stabbing. Letitia Stout did kind of all of it, right? We had a pew pew, a knife, and asphyxiation associated with that. But, okay, sorry, I don't know why I forgot that. I couldn't remember what order I put it in. Okay, so we're shocked. But that was what shocked me. Like even if she was deceased, I would have thought something else, some other, mode. But how in the world did this lady get her hands on a pew-pew? That's not one time were we ever told, in this world, nothing shocks me. Shining star, I know, we're kind of getting there. Yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it. But yeah, I was shocked because where did it come from? Like, I wasn't shocked when we found out Brian Laundrie self-harmed himself and everybody's like, where are they going? We told you guys the day we were out there that they found a pew-pew next to him. We knew that. There was a firearm out there at the location, and we heard that because we were near the office. There were so many officers out there, and they have their radios on. So you could hear conversations back and forth with the people of what they were seeing and what was going on. So I knew without a doubt that there was a pew-pew with him. And I remember going off at the time, and everybody's like, basically telling me that I was wrong. He must have, because they cut down a portion of this tree, and when they cut down the portion of the tree, many people thought that he must have been kind of hanging from it, which he wasn't. They just needed to move it out because it was they could only cut it and move it out of its way because it was blocking their ability to investigate that scene. That's why they cut the arm off that tree, is because it was hanging into their crime scene and they needed to get it out of the way. So they had to cut the tree limb completely off and move that tree limb to open up the area where Brian Laundrie was ultimately found. So, I wasn't shocked when we heard it was self-harm because we heard about it, but this is the first time it was here at this press conference that we even knew she had a firearm. Where did the firearm come from? And where did it go? I mean, isn't California one of those tough on firearm states? I mean, doesn't she have to register it if she purchased it? Or where in the world could she get it even off the streets? Where in the world would she know to go buy one off the streets? But I guess people that live in that area would know. I mean, I live in this area. I know you can buy a hot gun off the streets, but I wouldn't even know where to begin to go find one. And not only that, but how often do you roll up to some guy and say, hey man, I need a pew-pew. You got one? Everybody looking at you like, who the hell are you? Bitch, please, get the hell out of here. Here, you look like a po-po. Get the hell out of here, you po-po, right? So it makes me wonder, where would she be able to find this? Perhaps it was her husband's pew-pew. Oh, well, she was never married to him, from my understanding, but they were together. And he loved her, from my understanding. It was his mother that didn't like her. I don't know, but I kind of understand why she didn't want to be around his family. It looked like it was a mutual thing between them. They didn't like her. She didn't like them, period. California makes pews expensive to buy with tax, but California is pretty lax. Oh, well, that's not what we're hearing out in the media. That's interesting. Not surprising, because freaking California lies about every damn thing. But, okay, well, then maybe because I thought everything, like here in Florida, we don't have to register our firearms, but I could have sworn like every other state makes you register your firearms. And certainly I would think California, I mean, why wouldn't law enforcement tell us that there's a firearm missing from our house if they knew it? But they kept the casing, and like if I would have heard about the casing or the spent shell in the car, I would have known right then and there that this child was deceased. They withheld that information, and how, certain information, did it go to the integrity of the investigation? Yeah, maybe in part. I still wish we would have had that tidbit of information. I really do, because that would have been the urgency. And actually, if we would have found out about the spent shell casing and they were still screwing around with the maps, remember, I was so upset with them screwing around with the maps. It's like, we have a missing 9-year-old. We're here at this time. I was here with open arms, just wanting to give my, audience as much information as possible. I was reaching out to their PIO, the lady that's running this press conference. I reached out to her, spoke to her a few times by email to get some information. She was always responsive, always nice. And then, they started dicking around with the maps. And it's like, wait a minute. If we truly have a 9-year-old child here that you guys are concerned about her literal well-being, that you think that she might be in grave danger, why are you monkey effing with the maps? Let the people know where they need to be looking for this young girl so we can bring her home. But again, at this time, hindsight's 2020, this child was already deceased. None of that would have mattered. None of that would have helped. And again, none of us would have known, and we would have been more acutely aware that something was more detrimentally going on than her changing some license plate and getting her child out of Dodge if we heard about a spent shell casing in a car. That's concerning. When I hear of missing children and spent shell casing, naturally, we're going to, focus on that. So, don't know. Let's listen.
Investigators revealing 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard died from gunshot wounds to the head. Her body discovered this month in a remote area of Wayne County, Utah. Video shows the 40-year-old mom being led away today from her Santa Barbara County home in handcuffs. Investigators revealing Melodee likely died October 9th while on a 3-day road trip with her mother, Ashlee. They were traveling in a white Chevy Malibu. The journey spanned 8 states. Along the way, investigators say the car's license plate was switched from California to New York to avoid detection. Investigators say the two were seen wearing wigs at this California car rental counter. On October 10th,
But her daughter did not seem fearful at all. Her daughter did not seem fearful at all. And that's how I kind of know how this all kind of went down. I feel like she said, oh, go look at that. And then just pulled out, aimed, and I just don't understand. It's like Alex and Murdaugh. I don't understand how you can do that. No, I think it was more than one.
Ashlee returned home alone. Her daughter.
Let's listen. Hold on. I'm going back
to avoid detection. Investigators say the two were seen wearing wigs at this California car rental counter. On October 10th, Ashlee returned home alone. Her daughter was nowhere to be found. 4 days later, Melodee's school alerted police after she had been absent. In November, Ashlee Buzzard was arrested on false imprisonment charges not related to her daughter's disappearance. A judge later dropping the case, citing a lack of evidence.
The loss of a child is among the most profound tragedies any community can endure, particularly at the hand of the one who should have loved them the most.
A heartbreaking end to a months-long search. Dana Griffin.
So there you guys kind of have it, like, that in a nutshell. We have a deceased child here, and this child had every right to live. This child had every right to thrive. This child looked like she was a normal kid and following her mother, thinking she was going to go on a vacation. I mean, there's no way in hell I would have thought this would have been her outcome. I'm sorry. Everything that I have read, everything that I saw, I mean, yeah, there's, the changing of the license plates and stuff like that. She did, there was no doubt in my mind she was concealing her movements, and she was concealing her movements from a PI or law enforcement. But again, she's done this before. And I would have never thought that she would have. It's very, very heartbreaking for me. But I'm glad that the information came out before Christmas. I'm glad that she's going to be spending her time behind bars where she belongs. I'm angry about this case. I'm angry because Oh, she did grow. Yeah. Well, you know, that age, I mean, if you guys remember, I remember when I was that age, my mom would buy us, go school shopping. Like, she started going school shopping right before school when we were around that age, because she would buy us clothes and we would be outgrown them before school in 2 months. Like in 2 months, we would have a foot bigger than what we did at the beginning of the summer vacation. It was a little crazy. When kids get taller, they get slimmer. Yeah. Well, she looked healthy. I don't know why this mother would just do this. The only thing I can think of is she knew that this was going to be it. Once they got involved this time, they were going to take her away from her and never give her back. And I think that's the only thing I can think of, because there was nothing. It didn't look like this child did anything wrong. It didn't look like this child was fearful of her mother. And the reason why I say fearful, because you can typically sometimes tell if a child's being abused, just by, if their parents move and they are a little skittish or keep, watching their hands or something like that. That's a telltale sign that their parents just pop off and hit them. So you look for little things like that. My 10-year-old is 5'11" now. Oh, good gracious. I think Melodee didn't look well. Oh, I don't know. I think she was healthy, but again, my analysis of this was shit. So, I mean, there was reasons why I made this, and there was very specific, and I can show you the receipts of exactly why I went down the path that I went down. But I never saw this coming. I will be honest with you. I never considered this to be a possibility. I never did. So let's get to the press conference. I know I've got the press conference. Let me get back up here and let's do the press conference real quick. Oh, I know where it was. It's YouTube. I think I'm going to use the News Nation one because and they still never gave out and never released the mugshot yet. And I don't understand why they haven't released the mugshot yet. ABC 7. I thought News Nation ran it. Yeah, go to News Nation. I'm pretty sure News Nation ran it. Live. Yeah. Okay. And I will be honest with you. I really did like the PIO. She does everything that I always say that you should do in a press conference. When somebody, even though we could hear everybody's question, which never happens, I don't know. It seems like when we get the good PIO, we can hear all the questions. But when we have the people that don't answer the question, it's hard. So what happens is whenever you have a press conference, there's a lot of media there and they ask questions, but typically you can't hear the question that they're asking very well. And so you're only hearing the response, but you didn't hear the question that they're answering. So I've always said, I wish these people would state the question that's being asked to them and then answer it, because most of the time you can't hear the news people asking the question. And she did that, but we could hear all their answer. You could hear them anyways. You could hear all their questions perfectly. So it was good. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and pull this up. This is News Nation. This is the press conference for Melodee Buzzard. So everybody has the same exact information that we all have. There's no misconceptions or it's misconstrued in any way. And here we go.
Ashlee provided no verifiable explanation for Melodee's whereabouts. October 15th, 2025, detectives served a search warrant at the Buzzard residence in the 500 block of Mars Avenue in the Lompoc area, looking for evidence pertaining to Melodee's whereabouts. Subsequent to the search warrant, it was determined that Ashlee had recently rented a car, and video surveillance images were obtained showing Ashlee and Melodee at the rental car office, both of them wearing wigs in an apparent attempt to conceal their identity.
Again, I want to refer and go back that, you know, this does not mean that she's going to unalive her child, okay? We've seen a lot of this in domestic DV cases where they're fleeing from people. She's had a history of fleeing. She's had a history of fleeing with her own mother at the same age. We have to remember these things. So if you were like me and did not consider that this was going to be the outcome, you're not alone, okay? Even Bullhorn Betty believed that this child would be okay. I truly did.
These images were shared with the public on October the 22nd in an attempt to obtain additional information about their whereabouts. On October 24th, 2025, detectives shared an updated timeline and travel route with the public of Melodee's last known movements along a multi-state round-trip travel route that included California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, and Nebraska, with a return route including Kansas, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, and then back to California. Detectives learned that along this trip, Ashlee switched the license plates on the vehicle she had rented to a New York plate, and found out that she would back her vehicle into gas stations in an apparent attempt to avoid detection by their surveillance cameras. Melodee was last.
She went out of her way to conceal. Again, in a theory of hiding a child, those actions would also be something that you would attribute to those actions. Again, this could have gone both ways. We probably should have covered it both ways. I was tired of thinking of children being deceased, and I'm trying to figure out why I would think so highly of this lady, but I think it had a lot to do with the lack of criminal record, the lack of a meaty mental health issue record, which she didn't have. She has one identifiable event in her history, and that was about it. So she bought a new pew-pew. Brought a new pew-pew. She might have, but again, I'm still trying to figure out where she got it and how nobody knew she had it. This is the first time we've ever heard of any type of casings, spent shell casings, live rounds, or the pew-pew firearm, or someone being shot with a firearm. We did not hear that. Nightbot, eat coal. Do not like it. My Nightbot. Oh, good gracious. Good morning. Good morning, Ren. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Last seen on video surveillance with Ashlee on the Colorado side of the Colorado-Utah border on Thursday, October 9th, 2025. And detectives now believe that Melodee was murdered shortly after that stop. On October the 30th, sheriff's detectives, along with the FBI evidence response team, responded and served follow-up search warrants at the home of Ashlee Buzzard, as well as for a storage locker that she had rented and upon the car that she had recently rented as well. During the search of the Mars Avenue residence, an expended cartridge case was recovered. During the search...
Let's listen to that again. I want to hear where the spent cartridge was recovered. Hold on.
During the search of the Mars Avenue residence...
So of the search, they found the spent shell casing inside the home. How would I have done?
An expended cartridge case was recovered. During the search of the vehicle, a live round of similar ammunition was located. Detectives submitted the expended cartridge case to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives for inclusion in their national database called NIBIN, the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network.
NIBIN, that's the first time I've heard that. That's interesting. That's interesting.
December the 6th, 2025. Members of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office in Utah responded to a call from a man and a woman who were taking photos just off the 3300 block of East State Route 24 in a remote part of Wayne County, Utah.
Hold on, let me get that.
Just off the 3300 block of East State Route 24 in a remote part of Wayne County, Utah. This couple had discovered the decomposed body of a deceased person off of the side adjacent to West Caneville Road.
West Caneville Road. West Caneville Road.
Discovered the decomposed body of a deceased person off of the side adjacent to West Caneville Road.
Jason.
On December 8th, 2025, a member of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office notified the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office of the discovery of the unidentified found body. Although immediate identification of the deceased person was not possible, it was apparent that the decedent was a female who had died from gunshot wounds to the head.
That sound multiple. Gunshot wounds to the head. Gunshot wounds to the head. So that tells me there were multiple. It wasn't one. So that tells us what? What does that tell us? Tells us that she wanted to make sure she was DEAD. Okay? We're not talking about one. We're talking about multiple. Good morning to the people that are in the vertical chat. Alberta girl, it's nice to see you. Brandon, it's nice to see you. Lynn, it's nice to see you. Good morning, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Merry Christmas Eve to each and every one of you guys. We're not here on good news. Obviously, a case that I was absolutely confident, even up to the day, even when she was arrested yesterday, believing that this child was alive. And we come to find out that this child is not alive. She is deceased. And her mother has been arrested. Her mother has been arrested and charged with first-degree premeditated homicide. It's not good leading up to, our Christmas holiday. It's very, very, very sad. Oh, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. It's very, very, very sad. And it's heartbreaking, I mean, we've got this child. We were all very hopeful she was alive. We had a history that was promising, a history that this is a common practice in this family, which is always promising. When you have a history of this and nobody gets hurt, obviously you pray that that's the case for this, but that was not the case. And not only that, shockingly enough, a firearm was used multiple times. And that's what we're hearing, and we just learned from this press conference. Very sad stuff, folks. Very sad stuff. I'm feeding the Nightbot Cole over here. I know. It's always going on because nobody talks over in the vertical chat. But we got a lot of people over in the vertical chat, too. We got like 119. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I really do appreciate it. Martha, it's nice to see you. Hello, loves. Hello. It's nice to see you. Yes. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you for giving Nightbot hell. over there. But if you guys would like to be part of the family over here, we're on the horizontal chat. If you can't chat, we only have 20 minutes over here on the horizontal. It's like 5 days over there on the vertical. And it's just because we can't monitor the vertical chat like we can over here. And so we kind of stack it so you guys can't really talk over there. So if you guys want to talk over here, hit the thumbs up button. In 20 minutes, you guys will be able to chat over here on the horizontal side and tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel. But very sad case. We're going to go over, don't worry about this thing behind him. We're going to pull that up on the big screen. We're going to go over that after this. As we, start closing out the program, we've still got about another, 45 minutes or so before we're closing out. So if you guys haven't been here, you just don't know what we're talking about, or you're just coming in for the first time, I'm Bullhorn Betty. I cover true crime. We're covering the case of Melodee Buzzard, and I analyzed this case incorrectly. I believe that this case was going to be one where we brought this child home, that the mother's behavior was more indicative of her hiding this child for custody purposes. I am very, very shocked that we are here and her daughter is deceased, and to find out how truly evil, cold, and calculated Ashlee Buzzard truly is again shocking to me. But one of the things that we strive here is to make sure that we grow, right? So when we make mistakes, we don't try to hide that we made mistakes or that we analyze something. We actually embrace it. We put it up on the big screen. We say, okay, we made the mistake. What did we do wrong here? What did I do wrong here? And how can I prevent this from happening in the future? I think that by not addressing the elephant in the room, we do ourselves a disservice. I do myself a disservice. I strive for accuracy. I strive, but I'm human, so we're going to make mistakes. And not only that, but this was one that I was really going against literally everybody on, because I was so strong in my convictions of the history that I went against, mainstream media, professionals, FBI agents. I thought that they were truly blowing this one out of proportion. I did. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we need to figure out, why was my thought process there? Obviously, there's some red flags here that I intentionally missed. Subconsciously missed. I mean, I'm sure that they were, I knew that they were there. They were like elephants, but I overlooked them for a variety of reasons. And we need to make sure we don't do that again. But we'll go over this this timeline behind his head. So don't try to stress or scroll into it. I'll pull it up so you guys can see it.
December 17th, 2025. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives examination of cartridge cases found at the Utah crime scene resulted in a NIBIN hit, linking them to the single cartridge case that was found at the Buzzard residence. On December 22nd, yesterday, the FBI Crime Lab notified our agency that DNA analysis had determined that the remains found in Utah were a familial DNA match to Ashlee Buzzard. Today, December 23rd, 2025, members of the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office and the FBI served search and arrest warrants at the Mars Avenue residence and arrested Ashlee Lynn Buzzard for the murder of Melodee Buzzard. Ashlee was taken into custody without incident, and she was booked at the Northern Branch Jail for first-degree murder, where she is currently being held without bail. While these developments represent important steps towards holding Ashlee Buzzard accountable for the murder of her daughter, they do not diminish the profound loss that we are acknowledging today. Because this case is now moving through the court system, there are limits on what additional detail we can share publicly at this time. At this point, I'm going to ask Lieutenant Chris Gottschall to recognize the personnel and agencies whose work in our region was instrumental in this investigation.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon.
So before we listen to what he has to say, I want to break here and just discuss some of the information that we learned. Okay, so we learned that this is in Wayne County. We're going to go ahead and get back up here because we're going to look at some things so we're all abreast of everything. We're not just here for news, we're here to find out information. So let's go ahead, and we got the 3300 block of East State Road or State Route 24, and this is in Wayne County. Utah. Oh my gosh, you will never believe what. Now, same, different name. It's spelled differently, but holy smokes, about raising my eyebrows here. And it says Mesa Farm Market, not Meza. They had M-E-Z-A as the other family, but this is kind of like the 3300 block of this Utah State Road, and it's in rural area. But it just shocked me there for a second because the first thing up here is Mesa Farm Market, and I'm like, do. I never even thought she was dead or alive. I'm shocked. There's no bad history, no bad anything. Wow, I know. I you know, but a lot of it probably has a lot to do with me too, because I was explaining things the way I was seeing it. And at the end of the day, none of these things, especially in California law, was criminal. And at the end of the day, you know, we're looking, you know, criminal, you know, for somebody that does crimes. So here is kind of where the area is, and you kind of see. Let's go for a ride. Let's go exploring. Let's go exploring. So let me get this up. Kind of, oops, wrong one. No, let's get this. There we go. Nope, that's not it either. Where's my damn? Hold on. There we go. Okay, let's get this moved up a little bit better. Let's go for a ride. Let me move the one over here on the vertical stream too, so that you guys can see behind my head. Just move me over here. There we go. Let's go for a ride. Let's see what's around here. I wonder if we should. This is in Torrey, Utah. Maybe not Wayne County. What's this sign say over here? The sign says mile marker 102. Do we know what mile marker she might have been at? You know, they said the 3300 block of East State Route 24, and we're on Utah 24, 33, it says 3350. It's in Torrey, Utah. Let me check and see if Torrey, Utah is part of Wayne County. Torrey, Utah in Wayne County. And it's yes. So this must be it. And so we have some areas here. Let's see what's back behind us. I mean, I hear there's some caverns and stuff that are really oh so pretty. There's the Mesa Family Market right there. But which way would she be going? Looks like this way would be prettier. Yeah, look at all that. That's much prettier than what we were just looking at. So maybe she went down this way? Huh. I'll have to mark it. I mean, it is pretty. There is a campsite not far. Maybe she went there. Yeah, that's possibly. It said adjacent to some road. You're right. Caneville Road. Let's put Caneville Road in here. And Caneville. That's if I'm spelling it right. Okay, now I'm not spelling Caneville right. It says Caneville, Illinois. Caneville, Utah. Caneville Road, Utah. Yeah, it's saying right there. Is that still showing this mesa? Let's try saying Caneville with a C. Caneville Road, Utah. Now I'm all kinds of lost. Let me go back to... Let's go back to this one. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can find... Oh, I don't like these. Where's my freaking layer? My regular layer. Where's just my default map? There we go. There we go. That looks a little bit better. That's a little clearer. So now I'm all kinds of lost. I don't even know where the hell we are. Caneville Road. Caneville. West Caneville. Let's just put Caneville Road here. Caneville Road. Wayne. Does anybody know where this is? If you guys do, send it to me by email. Okay. So we get the water. I'm not finding it. I'm going to have to do some research on the maps. That's all there is to it. I'm just going to have to do some research on the map. It's driving me crazy. I found the 3,300 block of State Road 24, but I'm not finding the Caneville Road, West Caneville Road, unless they're two separate words, and it's whether it's a C or a V. Caneville. Okay, it's Caneville. Okay, hold on. Let me try that. Okay, let's do this. Caneville Road. So, Caneville Road. Okay, we're getting close. So let me put West Caneville Road. It's only saying south. So it's right by a Cathedral Valley Inn, maybe? This, okay, let me put the actual satellite back on now that we can see it. So there's, oh, you guys can't see that. Hold on, let me put this back up. There we go. So there it is. They're saying right there. So right here is where South Cane Road is, but they said it was West Cane Road. West Cane Road. So I guess south is west in this area. There's 24. So we see Utah Route 24. We can see a Cathedral Valley Inn, South Cane Road. I mean, this isn't a mountainous terrain here. Maybe we'll put this, let's explore just a little bit further. Let's go to Earth. Betty, you got us lost on the road trip. Put out a video this morning showing where the area was. Thank you. We'll have to go over there and check it out. I appreciate that. Let me just see if I can stick this in. Maybe it'll. All right, so this is the area that they're saying. Is this the area she had? Because this is the area that's popping up for me, and you can see a lot of mountains. I know where it is. How do you want me to tell you? It sounds like she left her on the side of the road, basically. Yeah, it does. It's Caneville. Oh, yeah, we got it. We've got it. The road that's between two counties. They have a town called that, too. Gotcha. Yeah, we're on the road. This is the road right here. This is Caneville Road right here. And this is Route 24. So I'm assuming it's got to be somewhere out here. Oh, hey, and Angelique, it's nice to see you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for subscribing. They have a town called that too. Okay, thank you for the super. Oh, I didn't miss a super sticker. Thank you, Groovy Gal. I'm sorry. I'm kind of consumed by. Oh, there you are. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, it's not. It's by 3 huge farms. 3 huge farms. All right. Well, let me go up here. Oh, sorry. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. I hit a button. Me and my buttons. I hit a button. We're not closing the show down. We're not closing the show down, guys. Well, while we're doing that, let's go ahead and pull this up for right now. And this is the timeline that I promised you that we would go over. Let me put this back up here. I'm going to have to adjust this just ever so slightly because I adjusted everything. Wrong one. All right, we're going to get the timeline up here. Let me just get it up here so we can read it together. Let me just help. We got the our friends over on the vertical that I need to adjust as well. Okay, guys, I think I got the vertical adjusted now as well. Okay, let me put it up a little higher so you guys can see it without my head blocking it. All right, so what it says is it says October 7th. So right here, it shows you that there's a road trip. Then it comes down here on October 8th. This is when she switched her plates to the New York license plate. October 9th, sighting at Colorado-Utah border, homicide shortly after. October 9th is when they believe that Melodee was murdered. October 10th, Ashlee returns to Lompoc. October 14th, 4 days later, the welfare check and missing person report is taken. A search warrant on the 15th, the very next day at the residence. And allegedly, this is when they found the spent shell casing. And then it wasn't for 9 days. An updated timeline and travel route was provided. So we had a 9-day lapse of not a whole lot of information. And then we get to the October 30th, and the FBI serve a second warrant. Oh, no, this is where okay, so the second warrant on October 30th, 15 days later, is when they actually recovered the casing. On December 6th, an unidentified remains were found near Caneville. Okay, I see it here. Caneville, Utah. Wayne County notifies SBSO of unidentified body. The cartridge casing are linked. The DNA analysis is determined to be a familial match with Ashlee Buzzard, and Ashlee Buzzard on the 23rd was ultimately arrested for the homicide of Melodee. Again, this is a case that I personally did not think that this was going to be the outcome, and I damn sure did not think that we were going to be dealing with a firearm in this particular matter. But here we are. Okay, here we are. We're dealing with both of those elements in this case, and the reality that Ashlee is more cold-hearted than I think anybody could have imagined. Like, I would expect this to be Katie Proudfoot. To be honest with you, I do not. Katie Proudfoot is one messed up individual, and obviously this lady is one messed up individual as well. But I'm not willing to say that she is a mental basket case. What I saw this lady do was very smart actions. Okay, and again, I was thinking that she was hiding this child so this child wouldn't be taken away. Still horrible reasons, but far from this child being deceased. Okay. And again, I think the argument needs to be, how in the hell can a child be taken out of this state, be unalived, and that state cannot even get a blessed court order to force the mother to tell them where this missing child is? That is more problematic for me than any other aspect of this case. I mean, at the end of the day, we deal with terrible parents. We deal with terrible parents that do terrible things to their children. That is the basis, basically, of this channel. It's what terrible people can do to people, right? But it's never been about law enforcement not being able to do their job. And I think California has their laws so messed up. The stuff, the fail-safes, the ability to apply pressure to this mother to find out the information sooner has been ripped from law enforcement. It kind of makes me understand why they were coloring outside of the lines, right? I kept seeing it. And listen, I'm one of those people that are just a stickler for doing things the right way. I've got to do things the right way in my life. It's not easy. I've got, I deal with a lot of hell to pay for doing things the right way, but I believe there's the right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And, I make mistakes. And if I can sit up here on my platform and acknowledge the mistakes I make and strive to do better, certainly law enforcement can do the same thing. I believe that everybody should be playing by the rules. I don't think law enforcement should be coloring outside of the lines. And I don't think that criminals should be not following the law. But criminals are the ones that break the rules, not the people that enforce them. And when I start seeing people that are enforcing the rules, breaking the rules, I don't like it. Okay? Because we should be putting ourselves above that. And I understand, and I'm sympathetic for law enforcement in California. But let's face it, California residents need to be doing more to make sure you're not stripping yourselves of any more rights. These are protection for your children that have been stripped away. Look at this child. They couldn't even get a court order to force this mother to open her mouth. They didn't even get an Amber Alert or an endangered child alert out of California. And this child is laying in the backwoods of Utah, deceased. There's something wrong with the California system. I'm sorry. It should be here to prevent crime, right? We do things, we want things to be noticeable, so it's prevention. We don't want to be having to deal with after the fact stuff. This is after the fact stuff. They've created laws that the only way we can work is after the fact, after the crime has already been completed, after the damage has already been done. That's when California can act. They've stripped themselves of any type of ability to get things before they get out of control. I'm here. I just finished my wrapping. I finished my wrapping yesterday. I had 3 more gifts to wrap, and I was in so much pain. I'm like, I don't know how Christmas Eve is going to be. And I'm like, if I can deal with it, 3 more gifts, just deal with it. I even tried to reach in the bag and find bags, just to do the easy way. But God's like, nope, you're in pain. We want you to be in even more pain. So here, you can't put it in bags. You got to wrap every individual gift. And that's what I did. Just to let you know. But I didn't make any more bows. I got the little cheap sticky on bows, and things like that. Aw, Merry Christmas to you too. I wish we were here under better circumstances. I wish we were here, saying that they found Melodee and that, they're taking her from her mother's custody, what we kind of thought was going to happen. I'm telling you, I never thought this. I just didn't. This is so shocking to me. This is so unnerving to me. And it just makes me really, truly feel that when we have a missing child, the parents are responsible, and I hate being like that. But at the end of the day, why are we lying to ourselves to make people feel better? At the end of the day, 95% of these cases of missing children, their parents are responsible. The parents are responsible for the harm that comes to these children. It's not third parties. It's not stranger danger. It's coming from inside their homes. And that's the reality of life. And I know that YouTube all wants to, try to censor the crap out of that, right? Because they want people to believe that it's the stranger dangers, why I'd have no earthly idea. But it's not. These threats are coming from inside the home, from people that should be protecting these children. And we give and spend an awful lot of money for the Department of Children and Family Services to prevent this from happening. Yet all too often it does nothing. We're not moving the needle. We're throwing billions of dollars at this problem, and we're barely scratching the surface. We're doing it wrong. In my opinion, I think we're doing it wrong. How many people believe that we're doing the whole child, welfare thing wrong? If you believe we're doing it wrong, put a 1 in the chat. If you believe we're doing it right, put a 2 in the chat. I'll be monitoring both vertical and horizontal during this. We've got 94 people in our horizontal. It's nice to see you all. Jackie, good morning. It's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And for the 94 people, kill in time. You had hope Ashlee was innocent. I did. I had a lot of hope she was innocent. Well, no, let me reframe this. I didn't think she was innocent. I think she should still have went to jail. Don't get me wrong. I wanted them to play by the rules. And at the end of the day, we are the crap that just happened over in California with this case would have never happened here in Florida. Okay, so I'm a stickler on following the laws. The problem is we had to go review the laws in California, and the laws, she did nothing wrong. Here in Florida, she broke the law. If she could not produce her child, and she'd be in jail. Okay, if her child didn't go to school, she'd be in jail. If her house was not kept up, if they lived in squalor and feces and all that crap, she'd be in jail. We do not play with our kids in the state of Florida, okay? But that's not that wasn't the issue I was dealing with. I was dealing with the California law, and I had to look at California law because I'm like, what made me look at California law is because law enforcement was acting weird. They were acting hinky. I could see that things just weren't working the way that they should be working, okay? We've covered enough cases. We know protocol. I'm sorry, I can tell like that when something is outside of protocol. And this was outside of protocol. They told us she was missing for a year, and then that they found her on October 7th with her mother where she was supposed to be, and yet here we are with a missing person because her mother took her out of, she had suspicious behavior, the changing of the license plate and stuff like that. And I get that. That looks very, very suspicious. It is very, very suspicious. But it's also something that is done very, very, believe it or not, quite frequently in the domestic violence world. And in the domestic violence world is where I come from. Okay, so hearing people in wigs and changing license plate, in all fairness, is not uncommon for somebody like me. Okay? It's not. It does not mean homicide to me. And that's where it was. And so most of these things would have been criminal acts in the state of Florida. But when you look at California law, they decriminalized everything. So could this have been solved for quicker? Could they have thrown her in jail sooner? Yes, they could have if they didn't decriminalize everything. So California, you guys are stripping yourselves of your ability to help children at this point. And I think this case right here is the poster child of why we don't decriminalize things like truancy, right? That was the only avenue that they had to hold this mother accountable, and they couldn't do it. That's wrong to me. That's just wrong. But yeah, ones. We got some ones. That's good. We've had a little boy's body found, missing for years. Social services never missed him. Mother arrested. It's sad. Harmony Montgomery always comes to my mind around Christmas time. Harmony Montgomery and the West Boys, because those were the ones that we found out, right? I mean, we hit back to back to back of several children that were just, I think we need to doge our child welfare system. Everybody's talking about the financial institutions, our IRS, the federal government, we even did a doge for the state of Florida, but why aren't we doing a doge for our children? Why aren't we doing a massive audit to make sure all of our children are accounted for? We have AI now. We have a Doge system that works, that we can just change some parameters and find all of our missing children. Why has nobody thought to do that yet? I'm kind of curious about that. Wouldn't you guys agree that that would be amazing? I think that would be so super amazing if we could just Doge our child welfare system, because I bet you we're going to find out that there's a lot of children that are deceased that we don't know about. I don't want to think of it like that. I'd like to think that we find that we have a lot of great families out there that are taking great care of their children. But I'm also very, very hyper aware that we have people and adoptive parents and stuff like that don't do that. We even have another case that was sent to me by, was it you, Lisa, that sent me the case about the 2007 case? One of our audience members sent the 2007 case. And I think I'm going to dive into that. That looks pretty interesting. It's a little boy that was adopted, and his dad says that he just left a note and walked off, and they suspect foul play. So that tells me they suspect the father or somebody in that household of doing something to that child. Harmony, West Boys, yeah, Ashley, exactly. So I don't know. I'm just I'm devastated by this news. I think we all are devastated by this news. What a beautiful little girl. She didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve this. And I truly rooted for her mom. And it's sad, And this is just another, just more evidence to prove that parents can be monsters. I don't want to hear the hate channels coming at me and saying, I can't believe you think the mother did it. Look at all these mothers we've covered of just in the last, the ending part, just in the last quarter of this year. I mean, or even in the last 2 quarters of this year. Jaden Spicer. I mean, all of these kids. Rebecca Park. Mommies did it. Mommies did it. Their mommies did it. Their mommies did it. Okay? So when I come here and I talk about Sebastian Rogers, I don't want people telling me that there's no way that this mother could have. The moms are terrible right now. I don't know what's going on with moms. I don't know if it's medication that has just made women so just detached from life. I don't know. I don't know what mother thinks their child is better off deceased than breathing above the ground. I don't know. But I'm telling you, this is entirely too common. And I'm sick of people telling me that I'm wrong. Here I really believed in this mom, and once again, proven wrong. When I believe it's the mom, guess what? I'm always proven right. When I actually go to bat for a person, I'm proven wrong. Explain that. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. So what do we do? What do we do at this point? Not a whole lot. Are the laws in California going to change? Not unless somebody from California starts working to change the laws. So if you guys are from California, I'm going to ask you guys, it's time for you guys to start reaching out to your politicians. It's time for you guys to start doing what it takes in your state. Because no child should have to worry about being unalived and never found. This could have been one such case if it wasn't for photographers, folks. God knows when we would have learned of her. I lost track of her. I figured she was already found. You know what? I will be honest with you. I have not looked at this case since I walked away from it. Right? So you want to talk about something that just blindsided me? Karen sending me an email saying Melodee's mom's been arrested. And that's when I first got it. That was before we even knew. Nobody knew why. Nobody knew why. We all knew it was related to Melodee, but I can tell you, just by everybody that I was reading and hearing and trying to find out what it was all about, not one person considered that I saw that this child was deceased. At those times. Now, granted, when we got online, people were talking about it. You guys saw it real time here on the show. But at the time, nobody knew why she was arrested. We had no clue, folks. No clue. But now we know. We know why she was arrested. So purple hair lady, was she really real? Or was that just a mistake? We got to remember that came out weeks later, and it was because of the private investigator following the route. And he made a stop. The lady remembered an odd thing. She thought it was the lady. It may not have been. It may have been somebody that appeared, had curly hair. Maybe she just noticed curly hair. Rebecca Haro. Yep. Mom of 9.5. Yep. Hey, Elizabeth. Just wondering, have you apologized for saying the mother is not guilty? Apologize. I don't apologize to anybody. My assessments are my assessments. We're either right or wrong. Okay? I didn't call this mother up. I didn't call anybody up. And for you to be here and even talk like that, somebody get this Elizabeth out of my chat. Don't ever fucking come back to my chat again. I don't apologize to anybody unless I do something wrong. I did nothing wrong here. I assessed a case. I told my opinion on my own show that says Bullhorn Betty. If you don't like that, not my problem. Okay? But you don't need to be here. You can go and talk to anybody you want. Have I talked about I've made a mistake? Yes, I have. Have I spoke about it? Maybe you should rewind. But don't ever come back to my channel again. We don't like your kind here. You sound like a liberal bitch. Apparently not. But I don't apologize. Unless I specifically say something to somebody and not just my opinion, which has been very clear that this has been my opinion the entire time, I don't apologize to anybody. Okay? If I do something wrong, I take ownership for what I do wrong. But if you think I'm going to, who the hell am I going to apologize to? My audience? They've been on the ride with me. But that's okay. Hopefully that's your real name and everybody knows you're a loser. God bless. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Started this. Yeah. No. Nope. I mean, yeah, she was kind of, in my opinion, she was kind of the poster child of when it went mainstream. But unfortunately, people have been unaliving their children and babies for quite some time, because we still got some 50 and 60-year-old cases that have been solved by IGG, and they went after mommy or daddy, and these people are in walkers. So it's been happening a while. It's just that it's been covered up very well. A lot of people, I think what had happened is there for a long time, people were saying the child, was lost. Or even in the old backwoods days, they could just say that the child died. Nobody would think anything of it, But at the end of the day, these children, especially as lands were developed, bones started surfacing, and they would find this or find that, or they would have had this or had the child not even realizing who the child was because they didn't have advancement in DNA. And so the IGG really has changed a lot. Do I think that this was all started? No, I do not. I think this has been going on for quite some time in our history. There was a lot of abuse in America at one time, and I believe a lot of people lost their life during that. Women, children, it was a wild, wild west. A lot of people wound up in shallow graves all over this country. I believe she was the one that went mainstream. And this is the bad part about media. It's like we talk about this stuff and we're actually putting ideas in people's minds. They don't think of it now, right? But when they do fall into mental illness or they do lose their crap and they think of this and they're like, oh, I'm going to do that. And their brain just doesn't, it's just obsessive at that point. And I think we do put some things by being in the news in people's brains that they would not have thought of on their own. And it creates, plants a seed that might flourish, 10, 20 years from now, which is not a good thing, But it is news, and it's what we do to spread information. And unfortunately, as we spread information, we're giving other people ideas of what to do at a later date for themselves, which is sad. But there's no way to do it. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, apologize for what Betty hasn't done. We talk about cases here. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a human being. I get things wrong. I get things right. We have a high batting average on this channel. So I'm not going to, just because we get one thing wrong doesn't change the fact that we get the majority of the things right. What we do is we put it up on a pedestal. We analyze it and find out what we did wrong so we don't do it again. That's how we handle things here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. At the end of the day, Elizabeth probably isn't even Elizabeth, but she sounds like she's going to be miserable this Christmas, and it's pretty sad. I pray for her. How can you wake up on Christmas and be such a miserable bitch? I really don't know. I don't know. But she is. She is. Let's see if we can do it. I don't know why we can't get it to work.
But we're here to set it right. Jump and duck, let's take a shot. Turning trolls into what they're not. Troll, whack a troll. Let 'em tumble, let 'em roll. Swing your spatula or a stick. Whack 'em fast, whack 'em quick.
It was a little scary there for a second. I'm like, well, it's not really working like I said. It was getting a little tricky. I'm like, what is going on with the system? I tried to make sure it was low key, so we didn't have any technical issues. I didn't even bring up a whole lot of stuff to discuss with you guys today because it was all going off of stuff. Nobody has a crystal ball. You're entitled to your opinion, and that's what it is. It is my opinion, and I brought all the receipts of why my opinion was what it was, and those receipts are still valid. At the end of the day, it is what it is. This child is deceased. We were praying to God that we were right and not wrong, because if we were wrong in this scenario, that means a child was deceased. And I said that more times than not. I also say that, I think in the other cases, the children are dead. When I'm wrong there, that means a child's alive. It's a good thing. But in this particular case, I said over and over again, if I'm wrong, that means this child's deceased. That's not a good thing. So we always knew that there was a potential of me being wrong. It was never that this was what it is. This is my opinion. And at the end of the day, I did bring valid points. They were violating this woman's rights. And at the end of the day, that she does have a right to be treated fairly like everybody else. Everybody has to play by the rules, even law enforcement, especially law enforcement. Now, think about it. If they violated this woman's rights, how much of that evidence is going to be tossed out of court? Because we've already identified her rights were violated. At what is it going to cost her or cost the prosecution in the courtroom? Because let's face it, even if they had the warrant, but the warrant was based on faulty information, it's a bad warrant. That means if they found that shell casing improperly, the shell casing gets tossed. That means no links to her. Do you guys understand why it's so important and why I fight so hard for everybody to play by the rules? Because now this is where the rubber meets the road. And how much of the collection, the evidence that they collected in violation of the law? How much of that evidence is going to be kicked at a later date? Maybe some, maybe none. But we had a right to bring up the concerns. Law enforcement clearly heard the concerns because they shut up. They knew that we were accurate in that because they were violating this woman's rights. She could sue them. She could have a preliminary injunction put against them for the violations of rights that they did. And we've maintained, and we've actually mocked California for the fact that they can't even arrest a mother with a missing child. We've mocked them multiple times after we stopped covering this case about that one aspect. I think just recently, like in the last several days before we even found out Melodee was, Cali needs to change laws. At the end of the day, no, I did not think this child was dead. I thought this mother took her and put her in a safe spot. That's what I thought. That was my assessment of this case. It was totally wrong. Not only was it totally wrong, it was so far off base that this mother is literally beyond monster. I think Katie lost her shit. Just blew up and lost her shit. This woman is so cold-hearted and calculated. Not only did she plan this, she pew-pewed her daughter multiple times. Like, I don't know any mother that could do that. I don't even think Katie is that. I think she lost her stuff and she blacked out and everything was done and over with before she came to. And she's like, oh shit, what did I do? This woman didn't have an oh shit factor. She said she willingly looked at her daughter, fed her daughter, hugged her daughter, and knew by the end of this trip her daughter was no longer going to be breathing. There's no words for that. Okay? I did not even remotely consider this being the reality of this case. Period. Absolutely not. I did not even remotely consider this the reality of this case. There is that. Thank God she was found. I know. And that's another thing, Jackie, is because this child could have been another one of those cases that we hear going on for years and years, like Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers. They still haven't been found. Layla Santinello, Holland Sapp. All these people, we kind of have an idea of what their fate truly is. But we can't even find them to bring them home and to charge the people. And this other case that I'm talking about from 2007, this cold case, why hasn't he been classified as deceased since nobody's heard from him in all these years? Usually the 7-year marker is still true. If somebody hasn't been heard or seen from in 7 years, you can petition the court to have them deceased. Why hasn't a guardian ad litem done that for him or anybody else so they can start arresting the parents? I love hearing I do too. It just gets sticky at the beginning of it. I don't know why. Because it's pulling from the computer. The CPU's tax. Actually, my CPU's been doing really good this morning. So we must have had an excellent stream because my battery is running. My stream has not budged a bit. I think it's my lights because my lights have been running through my computer, and I think the lights just put an extra bog, and I haven't had the lights on because we started later today, and I had good enough natural light coming in. I didn't need the lights. So, I'm happy with that. So I'm really devastated about this news. I fought like hell for this not to be the news. I was praying and hopeful that this would not be the outcome, but here it is. Here it is the day before Christmas, and we're talking about Melodee Buzzard not making it home and not celebrating Christmas. Trust me, this is very devastating. We do need changes in California's laws. We definitely need that. These things need to be these are preventative laws, right? These things need to be in place because they're the fail-safe. They're what triggers action from law enforcement. I can't believe in 2 months law enforcement could not even get a freaking court order to make her speak. Like, there's something wrong with a system like that. And because of that system, it made somebody like me look at what was going on and how there is no criminality here, no criminality there, that I downplayed it because it sounded like this was all kosher. Like, we knew that there was something funky with the license plate in the wigs, but again, we deal with DV. We heard of this family trying to take the daughter before. There was a lot of reasons why, valid reasons, legitimate valid reasons why I felt the way that I felt about this case. But just because I felt it, like I always said, it doesn't mean take that with a grain of salt. Just because I feel like it is doesn't mean that it is. And this is a prime example, we can wish in one hand and poop in the other and see which one fills up faster. I'm sure you're not going to be happy with the results, right? This was one of the cases where the poop runs free, okay? And we have a really crappy parent, so it's beyond normal thinking. It's dark. Our brains can't go, hence many of us left shocked and horrified. Absolutely. Like, I just keep envisioning just the darkness, just her pulling out and just, I don't know what's wrong with parents. I really don't know what's wrong with parents, but it even shows you, even the ones that we have hope for, what's the point, you know? What's the point? Most of the time, by the time these cases get to us, it's most likely somebody, we know it's going to be somebody close to the person, 95% of the time. I think it really is 99.9% of the time, but, you know. Yeah, we all are. You did prior also. That's what and why you were pointed out things because of Callie. Yeah. Do you think she will talk or no? No. She's been quiet this time. This long. She's not going to speak. She's not going to speak. She knows better. She's not going to speak. I can tell you that. She's not going to speak. They've got her dead to rights, in my opinion. If they don't get the now, we're going to have some problems. If they did some stuff, like I still believe some of that collection was done. I don't think they had probable cause at the time. I really don't. I'm praying to God that they didn't screw up some of the evidence, or if they get some of the evidence tossed, it's not enough to prevent this woman from getting justice. But this is also a point that I want to make to everybody. This is why I'm such a stickler when it comes to following the rules, because it comes down to the trial. It's why I want these people to have great defense attorneys. You know, it's not because I want to have the law enforcement, you know, marginalized or anything like that. It just limits appeals later down the road. And it's like, you know, the reason why they had to follow the law is because this is, you know, stuff can be tossed in a trial. There were some things that were tossed in the trial with Casey Anthony that were detrimental to the case. And it really, really caused problems in the prosecution proving their case. We never believed that Casey Anthony was guilty. That wasn't what was on trial. It was whether the prosecution proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt. If anybody wants to blame anybody with Casey Anthony, they need to blame the prosecutors, because the prosecutors failed to meet their burden, and we know she did it. So there was no excuse for that. The most important thing is Melodee will no longer be laying out there like trash. She will get her justice. Yes, heartbreaking. Hey, the way I see it, you left it open to go either way, and I still wonder if Mr. Weirdo didn't grab it when he was there, so no warrant. Yeah. You know, we got to look at stuff. I mean, this is legally, depending on how things were collected, this could potentially become a legal nightmare in the prosecution. But I guess we'll wait and see. I think that this is a strong case as far as who the culprit is. And, you know, but I am worried that they did search warrants and they did find the casings. And you know, this is when I thought they were coloring outside of the lines. So that makes me very, very, very concerned. Because that seems like a very, very important piece of evidence that I don't want to see removed from the case under a motion for suppression or something like that. And that's where my biggest concern goes, because I did see some violations here, folks. I'm not going to say I didn't. I saw some violations. Will they rise to having some evidence kicked? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait until it gets to court and see what her defense attorney is planning for her, but she's dealing with a homicide investigation. So anyways, guys, that's kind of where we are with this case. It is a sad case. I personally analyzed this case wrong, maybe wishful thinking, whatever the case may be. We need to go back to the drawing blocks and not dismiss this, because there was a reason why I thought this child was safe and sound. And we need to look back on those and see what we could have also discussed, because and I am identifying that even these things with her trying to hide her daughter could also have been indicative of, you know, problematic. We knew that at the time. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. We knew that at the time. The problem is that she had a history of doing this in the past, and in my opinion, where my biggest mistake is putting too much weight into the history. of her, into the fact that she had done this before and everybody was fine. You know, they made it back to California just fine. And then to boot, we had the grandmother that spoke up and said that, you know, when her daughter was 9, Melodee's mom, Ashlee, when she was 9, they also were on the run similar to this as well. So we had a very, very, very strong history where a bunch of kids were on the run, even Ashlee herself, and everybody was just fine. Okay. And so that I truly believe is where my biggest mistake came in my analysis, because I put entirely too much weight into the history, and maybe that should have been guarded a little bit better. So we just need to analyze it a little more, find out where the mistake happened. So when you guys see me do it again, you guys can pull me back into center and say, we went this way before. Maybe we need to look at it from 2 different lenses. So that's where why I think it's very important that we, and I just found out, I found the BioFreeze, guys. Look at this. I couldn't find my package of BioFreeze. And so I just happened to look down, and there's my package right there. There it is. There it is. Now I can put it on. I don't want to use, gonna have to use gloves. Don't use this with just your fingers, trust me. And Cali laws, yeah. Yep. So we'll do better. I don't think my analysis, because let's face it, I was not out here boots on the ground. We did not interview a person. This was based upon all the factual information and findings that law enforcement was putting out. It's very important why I stress the importance of being boots on the ground. My analysis with Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and Summer Wells, those have not changed. Those I was boots on the ground. I did a litany of interviews. I've spoken to many, many people. Christmas miracle. Yeah, exactly. And those are much different than Melodee Buzzard. We did not go out there. You know, this case, we were in this case for all of 2 weeks, and we ixnayed it because we thought she was safe and sound and that this was being blown out of proportion. I did see some articles coming in from Utah. I didn't really cover those articles because, again, blowing out of proportion, and that was a fault of my own. And something that we'll have to correct moving forward. So, at the end of the day, I was hopeful this child was not deceased. This child's deceased, and the mother has been arrested. And I pray to God we've got her dead to rights, and she pays the ultimate price for this. And unfortunately, she's in California, so I don't believe the death sentence, the death DP, is going to be on the table for her in the state of California. I believe that this is as cold-hearted as the actions of this woman. I think that should be on the table. I'm so sick and tired of states thinking we should. I think it's inhumane to throw somebody in a 10-by-10 cell for the rest of their life. You want to talk about inhumane? We wouldn't do that to dogs, right? We put dogs down, okay? And they're not even violent. We just put dogs down because they're unadoptable, right? And yet we're going to keep these monsters in jail for 30, 40, 50 years? No. It's time to start taking them out of their misery. I'm sorry. I have violent, certain people, right? Violent, murderous people where DP is the appropriate sentence. There's some people that are in jail for a really long time where DP is not the appropriate sentence. So the ones that deserve it should get it and be done with it, right? People that are in jail for the rest of their life, I just don't understand that. I just don't understand that. What are we doing here? What are we doing here as a country? I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. Don't forget, today's the last day for those last-minute gift shopping items. So if you guys have not gotten all your gifts on your list, today's the last day before the big day, if you get the drift, you know what I'm saying? So you guys get out there and do what you guys need to do. Thank you guys for all being here. Thank you for making the horizontal as well as the vertical channels so successful this morning. Thanks for all of the support that you guys have shown this channel. over the years. And again, you know, we have a very high batting average on this channel, but we don't have a perfect batting average, nor do I strive for perfection. And yes, occasionally we give a suspect a lot of grace. This was one such case that we gave this lady a lot of grace. And I saw something in her that other people didn't see. And I never imagined she could do this or would be capable of this. She was more capable than I gave her credit for. So clearly there was miss something. So we'll get down to the bottom of it. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. But I will happen again because I'm a human being and so are all of you. And sometimes we really do wish the best of people, and we see the good in all people, even the monsters. And this is just one where I saw good in this woman. I felt that this woman was being unfairly treated, and we were wrong. You know, you guys know me. I don't want to help a monster at all, in any type of avenue. And this was beyond a monster. I'm glad I stepped away. I would never support financially. And this was where we got to be very careful. You know, that's why I say with Don Wells and Candace Wells, I would never do a fundraiser, you know, or promote a fundraiser for them, because I will never put $1 or 1 cent into a monster's pocket. I'm glad we weren't in a position of that, because I don't know what I would have done. And I would have felt 10 times worse if we had helped raise any type of money for a monster, you know. But it would also probably get a little more fiery out of me than what we've got today. So I'm just sad. And I guess the silver lining is we did kind of get a Christmas miracle, because this was one child that I don't think we would have ever... I had already lost track of her case. I've already put it out to the pastor. I already moved her file over, pretty much closed the case, as this child would be fine, you know. And here we are. Like I said, I was shocked by the news, and I'm sure all of you guys are as well. But at least we have one baby girl that is coming home that will be put to rest. And, you know, we need to figure out what law needs to be put in her name. But I don't know. I definitely think truancy needs to be turned back post or pre-2019, right? Pre-2019. They changed a lot of laws in 2019 because of the commie Gavin Newsom that's in office, right? He wants to have chaos in his state. I don't understand why he's working so hard to have chaos in his state, but they need to have criminal law, and they need to have law and order, because would this have prevented Melodee's death? I don't think it would have prevented Melodee's death, honestly, but I think it would have solved her case a lot quicker. That's all I'm going to say. All right, guys, we'll see you soon. God bless you, and a Merry Christmas. We'll be back. Don't forget, guys, 6:30 tonight. 6:30 tonight, pajama party, Bullhorn Betty channel. It is going to be just Christmas. We're probably going to demonetize it so we can play Christmas music and just have a social hour where we just chit chat about whatever. I'm sure there's going to be true crime involved in it, because I don't think we all work toward true crime. Even on our holidays, we're all always working, always advocating. You know, it never stops. We're true crime. Okay, we eat, drink, and sleep true crime. So I anticipate us having conversations about true crime tonight. But don't be late. Don't be late. Pajama party. If you're not in your pajama party, we're kicking you out. Okay, it's a pajama party. Okay, so if you're not in your pajamas, if you did not go out and get yourself some Christmas pajamas, you've got several hours to do it. Okay, you got about 8 hours. We're not starting until 6:30. It's 10:30. You have 8 full hours to go find yourself a pair of Christmas pajamas, okay? Everybody must be in Christmas pajamas at 6:30, okay? And then we're just going to kind of hang out and chit-chat. And I'm probably not going to be here in the studio. I'm most likely going to be, we'll probably just have it out there, maybe in front of the Christmas tree or something like that. So it feels Christmassy. Aw, thank you, Summy. Merry Christmas to you too, Love Bug. I hope you guys have a great day. God bless you, and we'll see you later tonight.